and we are now we're in year 2 almost, right? Of this pandemic. And I don't know how long they're going to keep fanning the flames of this, but man, they are losing people and radicalizing people that you would never suspect that would be radicalized.
Hello, welcome to another episode of Two Average Joes, where we have Two Average Joes. Here we go. Not that we didn't want a guest, but leave that hanging in the air. No, there's time and place where me and Robert have to be able to talk about what's going on in the world, plus what's actually going on with the show, which is interesting. Mr. Baker, how's your week been?
Happy Halloween.
That's right. If you're watching this, it's not Halloween anymore, but it was Halloween when we did it.
And we're wearing our costumes.
I'm going as the most frightening person in the world, and that's a male conservative.
There you go.
Yeah, you won't see me.
Endangered species.
Endangered species. You won't see me on the TV.
Yep.
No ads with my face on it, so I'm scared.
Yeah.
Let me tell you a censorship story. And it's absolutely crazy, but it's true. We had the Secretary of State of John Merrill of Alabama on our show. I thought, that's probably a good show to try to promote and get an ad on Facebook and YouTube. We were shot down both times. But let me tell you my Facebook story. So this is to all of my friends who think that we don't want to make it hard for people to vote. Like perhaps they have to have an ID, like everybody in the world has to do it. Those nasty Republicans, they want you to prove who you are to vote. Facebook rejected us in 10 seconds. And the interesting thing about Facebook rejecting that particular program is not that I was giving them a fortune, but come on, brother, you're throwing me a bone. They go, I'm a political ad. If you have to be a political ad, you have to do certain things. So I did certain things because I didn't know any better. Number one, I had to give them my mailing address so they could send me a postcard, so they could give me a code, so I could put the code in so they would know that's where I am. Okay. Kind of like what I want you to do when you vote. Wait, it gets better. I go and I put the code in. So I don't care. They got my banking information already because I'm paying for, some ads every now. But wait, it gets more. They want a picture of my ID. They want a legal ID. Like a driver's license or a passport. Like I want you to have when you vote. Crazy. Of course, by this time, a week and a half has passed by. And the fact, has anybody here that's listening heard the term piss off? Because that's what I told you. Right. I'm not playing your silly reindeer games. But it is so funny to read stuff now after going through that Facebook, fiasco and going, that's all I want, buddy, for you to vote for the most powerful man in the world. I'm doing a cheesy, trying to get something in here for my program. I have to jump through more hoops for something that unimportant. But you can vote for the most powerful person in the world and you don't have to do anything. I like what Merrill said, and I'm going to make a challenge. If somebody hasn't been able to vote and they have had their right to vote, I mean their right to vote, violated, give me a name. I'll post it. I'll write a story. I'll go over their house and watch their car. Give me a name with an affidavit. Then send it to me, and I'm going to send you back a letter with a code. And then you're going to give me that code. And then you're going to give me their driver's license. And then I'm going to go over there and I'll do a story when they tell me how they were violated and couldn't vote. And if you can't do that, it's probably because you are a liar and you're making stuff up. There you go. I about had it with that stuff. But we're fighting censorship, and here we are. We got we're just a little car on the road.
Very small car right now.
A real small car. And you're screwing with us.
Yeah.
We had somebody that was against vaccination mandates, and all she said was, she didn't like the mandate. She didn't say anything about the particular disease. Okay, she didn't say anything against COVID-19. We got a warning, and the next thing I do is I get a strike. And if I get a couple of those strikes, I'm off of YouTube for a while. You know what? If you are just a regular guy or gal watching this, and you haven't paid a lot of attention, you're just trying to get caught up. The world is wacky.
Yeah.
They are doing everything they can to block information. It's America. I thought you were supposed to share information. I thought we were supposed to debate sides, but that does not exist. So it's very, very interesting. So I think when people are watching our show, and I'll admit, we're at the beginning. We're at the beginning. Make some comments, hit the like, do whatever it takes, talk to us, watch the video throughout, watch as much as you can. Let me put it that way. Watch what you can through it. And give us all the support we can get. That's what we have to have. I mean, it is very easy maybe to get lost and say, maybe we're just doing this, one person hears. No, really, that's actually stupid. We work very hard. We're actually investing in this, and I want more than one person to hear. Okay, so it's big, and it's there, and I think we're up against a lot. And I think, we always have our little pre-meeting. We're just talking about all the craziness that's going on, and I don't know. We won't see. I don't think we're going to see a backing off of Facebook or anybody else doing their censor, even though it does appear that they're changing their name and they're going to be a virtual reality. You're already virtual. That's all I got to say. Mm-hmm. What do you think on that? We're fighting the good fight.
We are doing that. We made our first mistake when we interviewed, and it was a great interview, Mr. Merrill, who's the Secretary of State of Alabama, which, I don't know, 7 million people in the state. Kind of important. He oversees the election integrity.
Yes.
Of the great state of Alabama, and he went in detail of how he ensures that he does not infringe upon anybody's right to vote, and that he would, what was it? He would go to their house and
they went to their house to register people.
To register people. I mean, he went above and beyond, and we had the audacity to call it voter integrity.
That was the end right there.
That was the end of our yes. So. When we were having our pre-show meeting, we were saying, we are going to say the truth to however few people they show these things to.
As much as we're fighting.
As hard as we're going to fight until I guess they cancel us. But that show was very good, and I would commend that you would watch that, because I was enlightened as to how far the state of Alabama and the Secretary of State went to ensure voter integrity. And we had the audacity, of course, to call our episode voter integrity.
Yeah, voter integrity. That's an ad for a political party right there.
There we go. So, you've got to send your ID.
You got to send my ID so they can see that I am me. You got my banking information, you twit.
Right.
Okay?
So it's, we call it horse shittery, but.
Yes, and it is grandiose horse shittery. What? Go ahead.
I was just going to say, Facebook changed its name to Meta, which is like metadata, meta, whatever.
Meta shit.
Yeah. And, from our research department.
That's right.
It says it refers back to itself. So I don't even know what that means, Meta. Right?
Yes. I will find this, and we've discussed this on many occasions, that we did discuss it just shortly ago, a little while ago. But here I do find this funny. You would think that they would want us on Facebook having debates because it would keep people going, right? But, you know, and you brought up a point, I want you to tell it to the audience about, you know, they got kind of beat up too. You know, we're slamming them, but they got a little beat up too, where they were being blamed for stuff like you were saying.
Yeah. Yeah. It was, you know, they blamed them for uprisings in other nations. They blamed for Russian collusion, for at least the elections that they lose.
That is the baseball's fault. So
the ones that they win, it was the most pristine election ever had on the planet.
There was no sign of any fraud. You know,
whenever you hear the word no,
yeah,
you know,
the second anybody tells you none, they're lying. They're lying.
No,
it is called making stuff up to go along with their agenda. Right. But you know, one of the things that I hope happens for the regular guy, regular girl, whatever you want to call them, is that, and I think you've seen it, I think people are finally, and this pandemic brought it out, in my humble opinion, is that they're paying attention to what's happening. It's like they're paying attention in school. It's like, that's why people are shocked. They're so upset about these books because they didn't know they were there.
Right.
It's that style, you know, it's that shock where you pick up, you know, you're in there and people are talking about books in the library. Holy cow! Jesus! You know, if they had known, they wouldn't be so crazy. But it's you know, it's interesting because we pervert history, and we're going to talk about that later down the road. It's the perversion of history is an American tradition. And I don't care what end of the spectrum you're on, everybody knows it because they're like, you know, we're not teaching history right. Well, you know, if everybody's saying it, there's probably some truth there, right? People that don't agree on anything else know the history's a little dicey, right? But it's interesting because one of the things growing up, and you were there, everybody was like, you know, the Nazis used to burn books. But you know what they do in America now? They don't have to burn books. They just cut them off the internet.
Yeah.
And you can't sell them. You can't buy them. They take complete videos off. They totally destroy the information chain. And it's like, you know, I thought that was an American principle that we didn't do that. Well, you know, there's some names that I'm going to call you. And as long as I can call you some names, it's okay. Right. I'm pretty sure that the group of people that was always considered bad that did that, they probably called those people names too. Right. That's the way that works. You know, once you demonize people, and that is what this really is about demonizing people, then people get, especially the great unaware, they get uncomfortable. It's one of the reasons some people won't go to BitChute. Right, I heard that was. Well, you know, they probably got a lot less censorship and probably going to watch something on BitChute that may make feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Now, where I come from, it would be, don't watch it. You know, turn the TV off. Maybe don't come back if you don't like it. And but the truth is, you should have a free flow of information, and it shouldn't be dictated on whether or not people like it. Mm-hmm. Because I don't know what that means. I mean, what do you mean by people don't like it?
Right.
You know, I mean, it's like, well, you know, people don't like it. Who are these magical people? I mean, do they have names? Mm-hmm. I mean, a group of people. Who are they? Who runs them? Who's the bill? What do they stand for? You know, if you can't answer those questions, don't get intimidated by it. Mm-hmm. You know, and you and I have both talked about, we think it's bullying.
Yep.
Then what you gonna do?
Yeah. Let's go, Brandon.
That's right. That's another topic that I am all for.
So there's this phenomenon at everybody. If you haven't seen it, the 12 people that are watching this probably haven't, but I guess there is chanting in the crowds, and they're actually saying "fuck Joe Biden."
Right.
But evidently, the news media, in their infinite wisdom and tin ear, evidently, has said that they were going, hey, they're chanting for the guy. I think it was at a NASCAR.
Yeah,
NASCAR race. The driver, name was Brandon. They're saying, "Let's go, Brandon," and I listened to it. Didn't even sound close, but
we appreciate you giving us an entire way of saying that without being censored. Right. Once again, you can assure that the average person in the media is going to be a gift from God of giving you information.
Oh man,
they're meme machines. I don't even understand that. Let's go, Brandon. I mean, I think there was like some middle schooler they were interviewing. He goes, "Let's go, Brandon." You know, I'll tell you something. His town hall meeting was a disaster. Yet I know that, you know, whatever that means, I know what I know. I know that the guy is probably on medication. That's what I know from watching. Couldn't answer a question. And you're like, you know, this is where we're at. This is what we got. And all I can say is sometimes you get what you vote for, if there was actually a vote.
Right. Well, we talked about it, and you had, I forget what word you used, but it's the left is so afraid of Trump. What was the word?
Trump derangement syndrome.
There we go.
I've never seen anything like it. They are in complete meltdown. I mean, right now it is interesting. Because here's the interesting part about the Trump derangement syndrome. It really doesn't have anything to do with politics. It's not like, Donald Trump wants to build a wall, but, maybe we should let people come in and pay them less money and let corporations, exploit them, and they can all live 15 people in a house and get paid less and get no health insurance, and the government can take care of it. And maybe we should do that for big business. That's not the argument you get. You get Donald Trump, he's
right.
And it's like, I mean, I'm going to be careful on this one, but they had a fascination with his penis there for a long time.
They did.
They were like all about his penis. And I'm like, I never really gave a lot of thought to whether or not he was endowed or not, but y'all have.
Yeah.
You had paintings and they worshiped at these paintings. And I'm like, you are sick, bizarre people. You are fascinated by this man's penis. And then they want to talk to me about rational thinking.
Most of the people aren't old enough to remember the Twilight Zone, but we have crossed into a parallel universe.
We are there. Rod Sterling is going, this ship's too far.
Right. When we are considering the penis size of a president and we are saying fuck Joe Biden at football games and NASCAR.
I mean, and I said the Trump derangement syndrome that beats anything I know. He's at Atlanta and he did the chop, and apparently he said that baseball invited him. Baseball said, I don't know nothing. And they're all on there. What's really interesting? Our economy's collapsing. Right. And you're worried about him being at a baseball game. Trump derangement syndrome. Yeah. I've never seen anything like it. It is here's the weird thing. I can honestly go and say this, I'm comfortable. I didn't agree with everything that Donald Trump did. I want to say it right off. There was things he did that I was like, how did somebody take it? Okay, so don't misunderstand. I'm not the guy that thinks he did everything wonderful. But you did create this weird, while you're sitting there talking about his penis, and I'm thinking about the fact that you probably need a psychiatrist. And the derangement syndrome really is you shitting yourself. And I mean, we're losing a little bit more loose language, but this is the only way you can do it, right?
12 people watching,
Yeah. You're shitting yourself over this, okay? And you're like, dude, this has nothing to do with politics. Y'all are just insane about him. Mm-hmm. Your hate for him knows no bounds. And after a while, you go like, okay, he does say a few wackadoodle things. Mm-hmm. But why are they crapping on themselves every day and sitting in it and enjoying it and reveling in their own poop? And you go, maybe this guy really is onto something. Maybe he was right about the swamp. maybe he was right about the fact that this is dirtier than you'll ever know. Because otherwise there shouldn't be this reaction. It should have been, rational talk, not, you wanting to talk about his penis and whether or not he got peed on or all the other things that just fascinated your sexual perversions of what you were interested in on him, while sitting in your own crap. Okay. I mean, maybe he was right, because how do you make people act like that unless you're onto something? That's just the way it works. And I mean, I sit there sometimes and I go, wow, maybe one day we'll figure it out. But I'll tell you something. If he didn't do anything, and I'm going to give him credit for this, he proved the swamp was swamp. And he proved the swamp was deeper than I ever thought.
Probably deeper than he ever thought.
I will guarantee that.
It swallowed him whole, right?
It did. He had no idea that was He had no idea how deep it was.
Yeah, and we talked about the Democrats being the party of love, right?
Right. Until you show up in a Trump hat and they're hitting you with eggs and stuff, right?
MAGA hat, and then they just wail on you.
Yeah, well, they beat you with a stick. You know what I mean? So
then you're a racist, a bigot.
Right. I mean, and all the other things, and and you can't climb out from it. I think one of the things, and I'm amazed by this because I do think it comes back to Trump, and he should be old news by now.
Yeah.
I mean, he should be old news. Obama was gone for a year. Nobody cared. Oh, don't get me wrong. I mean, I heard stuff like, I love when liberals are racist. This is a racist white person. He spoke. So, you racist piece of crap.
You're right.
And if you don't understand why that's racist, leave a comment. And I'll clarify.
Right.
Here's my other racist comments about Obama. Like, yeah, he seemed really smart.
You're right.
God.
Right.
Stop! I'm trying to wipe the racism off of me. Right?
Right.
Stop it. He's smart and he speaks well.
There's a really good YouTube video out there, and I sent it to you, and we should find it and put it down below. But it's a guy, he goes out on the street and he interviews a bunch of people on the street, and they're mostly people of color. And they say they do all these racist quotes. And then they all think it's Trump, right? And then at the end, he says, no, that was Biden. And they do the same thing in one sitting, and they say all these things that weren't racist at all. Right. And they say, no, that was all Trump. And it's just a great thing that shows that it has shifted now, I think.
Right. I think that people, it is Halloween on here. So
it is that.
So we don't want to scare people too much. But here's the reality of it. Some of the people that say the dumbest racist stuff I've ever heard are actually liberals trying to be nice.
Right.
Dude, you wouldn't, if there was a white guy that was president that spoke well and seemed to be pretty smart, you wouldn't say that. And by the way, there was never a president smarter than Jimmy Carter. Jimmy Carter was a genius.
Yeah.
For those that are old enough, leave a comment. How did that work out for you?
No, he wrecked the country.
Yeah, so it's weird. I do think that we are in that. I do think that we're in that fight of fights there. And I think that when we lose that, going back onto the video, and we need to try to find that so we can put that in there.
Yeah.
About people have this perception, and they really don't pay attention to what people say or what they think or anything else. I mean, I do think that some people they try too hard. They try too hard. They go out of their way to try to be, look at how good I am. No, you're just, you're a troll. You're an absolute troll.
We had talked about the media and Joe Rogan and his intermectin or whatever the heck that thing was, and how he had commented that CNN had lied, or Don Lemon or whoever the hell it was.
They had lied.
Yeah. Oh, Sanjay Gupta, right? The guy who,
Right.
whatever the heck.
I'm glad you pronounced that because it would have been a bad.
I'm sure I butchered it.
No,
But basically, Joe Rogan had him on, and then he tried to, the CNN guy tried to get out of it, but then Don Lemon doubled down on that comment, and then Joe Rogan said, "You're a stupid MF," right?
Right. That's right. Because Don Lemon with his 800,000 views, which you think
there you go.
I think he don't have 800,000 views. I bet you
probably half of that, I think.
Probably. And he's on every TV set in America, and they can't break any numbers. They're just horrible. And there was something else that was mentioned in there with the Joe Rogan and some other shows was, it seems like cable news is locked into the 90s, early 2000s, where they actually believe they are the news source that people are going to. They have no idea, like there's people on the interwebs that have more views than they do. Yeah. People on the interwebs that have a lot more clout, And I remember one time, and it's probably, well, it was long enough, let me put it this way, it was Bill O'Reilly when he was still on Fox, right? Mm-hmm. And Bill did this gigantic talk about, and I was on the web at the time doing some things on a local level. He was like, that will never replace cable news. People will come to cable news. It's all about cable news. You want to find Big Bill right now? He's on the internet. Yeah, right. Ate every one of those words, ate them and gulped them up. Okay. Yep. But, his situation, they put him out the door and all of a sudden he went, hey, this is a pretty good idea. But I can guarantee you right now that there are those people on all, let me repeat this, on all the cable news networks that they don't really know what to do. They're not going to compete against the internet. Right. And, the best thing that they have going now is for them and their little, flunkies to go, the stuff on the internet, it's not the same. There's people looking at it when they're on TV. They got about as much oversight as you and me. Okay. And they're much more circus clowns because at least we're trying just to tell the truth as we know it. They purposely lie.
Right.
They say stuff like Joe Biden's doing a good job. That's just a lie. Okay. There ain't no better memes than the one where he looks like he's on Beavis and Butthead standing there with his arms out. They're the best. Because that's who he is. Right. Fire. Okay, that's all you need to know about the dude. Right. So it's going to be interesting, in my humblest of humble opinions, to see how everything works out. Because I do think that for us, people like you and me who are trying to do what we're doing on our show, and all the other people, I believe that I'm correct. I believe, I'm going to say it's for me, I think I'm correct. And I think you and I are in agreement. We talked about it. Our job is to hang around here long enough that we're there when this really takes off. This is the very beginning of stuff.
Yeah. Episode 12, right?
Yeah. But I mean, also the beginning of what we're doing here. There's a lot of shows, and we're all up against each other. But I don't think that the viewership is there the way that it's going to be. And I'm not kidding now, a year from now. Yeah. And rather it's through our website of Two Average Joes, through our Facebook, which is always going to be censored, YouTube, which I don't trust, or if it's Rumble or BitChute or one of the podcasts that we're on. I think that's our biggest thing, is to be there, because I think you're getting more people realizing I've got to go somewhere else. I've just got to go somewhere else. I've got to hear what people who are out there are trying to do. We got people talking about voter fraud, but what are they doing there? Go down there. I'm going to put a link in there with, about the Secretary of State of Alabama and what he said. Mm-hmm. And so I'm genuinely, I'm glad we are where we are. Are we getting all the listeners that we want? No. I mean, I want to get more. I want to fight more. We're way more popular on BitChute than we are on YouTube. Why am I surprised? I'm not. Right. Okay. Right. And doing the things that we're doing. And yet I think we just need to be here and ride out the good fight, because I do think that you are getting more and more people going, I'm just not going to watch that. I'm just not going to turn on my TV and watch that.
Yeah.
And I think that the conservative brand is probably stronger, but they have, and here's where I might differ than some of my other conservative friends, and where you and me are probably different than some other people who are doing what you and I are doing. I understand Fox News. I understand their limitations. Okay. They're on a whole different platform.
Yeah.
I understand their limitation. I mean, Tucker Carlson says some great things and people like Tucker. And then I'll read somewhere, he didn't go far enough. My God, I can't believe he went this far.
Yeah,
you know
right.
what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, and it shows sometimes on the conservative side that some conservatives do not have an understanding of what Fox News is up against.
Right.
That they really do have to play the somewhat balanced game. I mean, the fact that he does some of the things he does actually stuns you. What do you mean he didn't go farther enough? I mean, how far do you want him to go? Right?
They're leaning towards the internet though, because if you look up Tucker Carlson's the clips that they have, he's getting millions of hits.
Yeah, they're doing a lot. They actually, surprise, Bill, surprise. Right. Okay, they're going towards podcasting. They're going towards a Fox Nation where they're streaming and doing stuff. No, they've seen the light.
Yeah.
And somewhere Bill O'Reilly's going, yeah, I heard that clip where he was talking about that problem. Don't exist. Yeah. But I watched it because I thought that guy's an idiot. Because that's the only thing that's going to be, because there's just too much access to the internet. And some of it does become stale. You know, it's kind of like sports news. I mean, there is a point with sports news, not that we're going to do it, but if somebody wanted to go crazy about sports, I think there's a whole market out there for that, because the sports news is so bad.
Yeah.
It's just dribble. I mean, it's just, pardon the pun, it's just dribble. It's just horrible. I mean, it's like they talk like this. The Bears quarterback, they named the Bears quarterback. It's Justin Fields. I'm sure he'll be a good quarterback. They covered it like the Kennedy assassination.
Yeah, you said that.
Yeah, I said, look, that's about a 15-minute cover. 20 if you're in Chicago.
Hey, did Ole Miss win yesterday?
Oh God, no.
Oh.
I'm an Ole Miss fan.
Yeah, Michigan State beat U of M though.
Yeah. I saw that. I thought y'all would. I knew you would be happy to stay.
I'm very happy.
I did watch that game. They did. We went down to Auburn. I love Lane Kiffin, but perhaps we'll play some defense one day. I think Lane should go in there today and remind the defense it's called tackle football.
Right.
Emphasis on tackle. Remember that when you're not allowed. Remember that at school? You can play football, but you're not allowed to play tackle football. No tackle football.
We used to play tackle in the street.
Yeah, we did, but apparently at Ole Miss, we need to start playing tackle again. Just that. No, it wasn't good. It wasn't.
Anyway, back to the politics
back
stuff.
to reality.
I think I sent you this guy, and he worked at Glaxo something at a pharmaceutical plant.
Yes.
And he had we should put that below too.
Yeah, we'll do that. I'm going to have to look at those, but I'll get it.
He had a full body suit on with a oxygen mask over it, and he was beating the crap out of, I think it was a school board, about their mandates, and we are now we're in year 2 almost, right, of this pandemic, and I don't know how long they're going to keep fanning the flames of this, but man, they are losing people and radicalizing people that you would never suspect that would be radicalized.
I quote you on that all the time. I can't tell you during the course of a week, if I'm talking to other people, how many times I mention that and you talking about it. Because out of everything that came out of this, I'm not so sure that's not the most amazing thing.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy? That guy is a worker, and he was being heckled by the crowd, and he was giving it right back to him. And the doctors that were up on the board or whatever, I mean, and it's just like, that guy's not radical. He's just a worker, a working stiff like every other working stiff in America.
He's telling the truth. One thing I remember I went to my open heart surgery, and, everybody's masked up, and it's just an incredible, man, I just love it. I mean, it's just so cool. Not that I want to have surgery again or hope you to have surgery, but it's just, wow, they're all masked up. And I remember this was a big meme for the masking people until it wasn't, because they apparently didn't think. They go, you need your doctor masked when he did it. You know what? I'm pretty sure my surgeon didn't go back to his car and get a dirty bandana and wrap it around his face like you do.
Made out of underwear material.
Underwear material, you got a snot rag wrapped around you, acting like you're my surgeon. That meme came and went pretty fast.
Yeah, right.
One thing I can tell you about the people that seem to, with this whole mandate and vaccination situation, and you and I are free on that. You do whatever you want, whatever you and your doctor or you and yourself choose, you do what you want to. I got no opinion on what you do. Okay. But I do love to see people argue when they don't know what they're talking about. Yeah. There's no long-term side effects of this. Ain't had it for a year.
You're right.
What are you talking about?
Well, now they're mixing vax. Did you see that?
Yeah, I like that. They're mixing it. Well, it doesn't matter. Just stick one in your arm.
Yeah. So you do the Johnson one and the Moderna one as a booster. I'm like, I don't think that's going to end well.
I don't think that's the way this is supposed to work out. Just get something stuck in you. It's just saying. Read stuff we really don't know. Stick it in you. We need to give 3-year-olds these shots. And it's like, are we having a 3-year-old problem with this?
Yeah.
And then my favorite one that came out of it was, there's no proof that you won't get sick or that you can't transmit it to other people that had a vaccination, right?
Right.
But you'll get less sick, and that's kind of what this was about.
Right.
No, nobody got a polio shot so they could get less polio. What are you talking about? You crazy people. I think one of the things that's going to come out, and I believe this, and everybody stop me if you heard this. You're going to find out it's about the money. That's what you're going to find. You're going to find out that everything started off good, right? People wanted a vaccine. People wanted to be safe. People wanted to get sick. You don't want your loved ones to die. You don't want to die. Right. I love when people did. Well, I don't want other people to get sick. You're a liar. You don't want to get sick. You care ass about anybody else. But you don't want to get sick. I would at least respect that. If you said, look, I think everybody should be vaccinated because I don't want to get sick. I mean, God, at least I would respect your honesty, right? Mm-hmm. Instead of being a sleaze bag of liar you are, talking like you care about other people. But one of the interesting things that I do, I love it a lot, is that how quickly we are to change gears and just go, it's this, it's that. Oh, no, I didn't mean that. I mean this. This was going to happen, but now that's going to happen. Mm-hmm. It's about the money. Every single thing we have ever done in the history of the world since we became civilized, which wasn't a billion years ago, like everybody acts. It's a pretty neat thing. But it's always about it.
Right.
Everything's in it. Why did we fight this war? We were fighting these wars for democracy and freedom. No, you're fighting for the money. Always about the money. So when you sit there and you ask yourself, why are we doing, regardless of what anybody's good intentions were at the beginning, it's about the money. It's always about the money.
Right.
Look who got rich. It's about the money.
Yep.
We're going to give these shots to 4 countries for free. Somebody's paying.
Right. I don't know how it is in Mississippi, but in Allegheny, in Southwest Michigan, COVID is like rolling through here, man. And vaccinated, unvaccinated, it don't matter. I know a bunch of people who didn't have it, and all of a sudden, a whole bunch of people are getting it, right? Yeah. In my county.
Right.
And I don't know, but they haven't stepped up and they haven't mandated the masks. At least they're trying to with the kids, I think. But
yeah.
And
here it seems to be a little bit more subdued. I'll read in the paper, that they're up, and then of course Mississippi is in a highly populated area.
Mm-hmm.
So we're always playing the per capita game, which is what people like to do.
Oh, yeah.
Per capita. I'll tell you what. If you want me to play per capita, I can pretty much destroy most people's thoughts about, I don't know, sickness, crime, death, Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's hard to get information. If there's anything, we do political cartoons and on our Two Average Joe sites, and I go through them. And anything that I think is trash, guess what that is? I don't post.
What's the URL on that website?
It's www.2 spelled out average spelled out joes.com. There will be a link in the bottom.
And there's a lot of articles, and you got this political ads and other things.
Yes, yeah. So we got a lot on there. So go check our website.
Yeah.
But here's where it gets weird, and I don't know how to say it, but I'm watching it. If there is anybody that, I mean, I'm not going to post their cartoons because they're hacks, it's still scare tactic. It's always like everybody's going to die. Well, a lot of people die. I mean, I do know that. But then again, you have, Colin Powell, who, had blood cancer and all these other diseases, and somehow he died of COVID.
Mm-hmm.
That's just, I don't even know where to begin to go. Do you know how much you discredited what you were trying to prove?
Right.
If anybody had that kind of disease background, that's what they were suffering. Okay. Mm-hmm. And you try to say they died of pneumonia. Okay. And people would go, well, the pneumonia came from the fact that they had been very, very sick. And that's the way it would be done. Right. But you just come out and go, it's COVID related. It's like, look, dude, you just lost all credibility. Mm-hmm. Because back in the day, people say they died, they got sick, they had this, they had that, it was pneumonia, and that kind of took them out, and that's the way it worked. Nobody said they got pneumonia out of nowhere and died. It was explained to you in a very specific manner. Mm-hmm. And now it's like, you could be, it goes back, I've said it on several episodes. To die of COVID in meth explosion.
Yeah, right.
That's where you're at. And the problem is you're not going to climb out from underneath that. And I hate to say it, but you're not.
I think it was around here somebody died in a decapitation in a motorcycle accident, and they said he died of COVID.
Yeah, he had COVID too. He's going to die anyway. So, once I'm at the point now where it's all about scare tactics and being a hack, so I can't really take it serious. I want people to take care of their health. I want them to do what they feel is the best for them and their children.
They have to. That's what it always has been. We talked about it before. Your family would get together and you decide whether or not everybody's going to take a vaccine or not take a vaccine. And there wasn't any stigma about it. It was just a family decision that you make.
Yeah. Yeah. You and your doctor, that's what you need to be doing. I don't need some cartoonist to be a hack, or some guy that, this happens a lot, they're in the office and they read 2 articles and now they're medical experts.
Right.
You're a hack. That's all you are. Mm-hmm. Well, look, we're getting ready to wind down. I just want to say this last thing here. Support us. We mean it. We said at the beginning of it. Go down, hit the likes, make a comment, share, get this out. The more the merrier. We want to be able to make this work. So, there we are. We need it. We're not going away. We're going to keep fighting the good fight, but, we need your help. We need support. We need to know you're listening. So we definitely need that taken care of. Anything you have to say, Mr. Baker, before we sign off?
Subscribe. Happy Halloween. If you watch it, it'll be.
And if you didn't have a happy Halloween, at least I hope you had a happy.
Right.
Or at least a Halloween.
And maybe, we can retroactively scare the shit out of you with what we're telling.
That's right. We'll do it. Hopefully this scared you a little bit.
Right.
So there we go. But look, for everybody, we appreciate you watching. We appreciate the people that have been supportive.
We do. You really do. Across all the platforms that we're on.
We appreciate everything. So we'll see you next time. And we hope that everybody has a great week. And we will see you soon.
See ya.